In this episode, we'll be learning about the future of digital health and intelligent medical devices from the CEO of PN Medical. He's a medical device inventor, founder of Rollins Business Journal, and nominated as most influential businessman by the Orlando Business Journal. Welcome to the show, Mark. How are you doing?
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining me on this episode for Soulful Conversation. I'm looking forward to learning so much from you, and it's a privilege to have you on this platform because while preparing for this conversation, I learned that you play a lot of roles. Like you're an inventor, you're a businessman, you're a recruiter. So there's a lot of things one could learn from you. Basically, you are the whole business itself. I must say, yeah, yeah. So, but before I jump into all of the wonderfulness I would love us to talk about. I would just love to learn a little bit about you, like we do in most of the podcast episode that we record on Mirror Talk Solo Conversations. I would just love to know who you are, Mark. Like who is Mark and what gave birth to the passion of inventing intelligent medical devices?
Oh, great question. Yeah, let me try to be brief on that. So, at my core, I'm fanatical about solving problems that affect people, and I'm married, amazing wife, and three young boys. Two of them are pre-Olympic athletes, so it's pretty cool living in a household with so many people that have enormous human performance and capabilities. So I'm always looking to push the envelope. And I've been in medicine for about 9 years now. I took over the company 9 years ago. We've had 2 million patients and users to date. So there's so much data. So I'm how I approach solving problems and is that constant research. I'm, an avid researcher. I've got scientists on staff. I've got experts that really do this, but I just love this stuff. So I'm always looking to crack the code on something. And personally, I'm trying to crack the code on low energy, sleeplessness, and anxiety.
Mm,
And so we do a lot of research in different areas. And for me personally, low energy is key. The older you get, the more challenging. And I work so much and have so many things going on. Sleep is, it's not something I do much of.
mm,
And then of course anxiety, always moving, always going. And in our company, that's, I've been able to live that out and to be able to combat all those things with what we create and what we offer for people. So again, 9 years doing this. I've had multiple businesses before this. I really love this one the best out of anything. I just, you know, when you see the stories that come in of all the lives and people that we help, it just means a lot. And again, I'm a businessman too, so I know that people that visit your show, you've got a very diverse population of people with many interests. I've got some great stories of how we've grown on Amazon too, internationally. So if you
mm.
want to ask any business questions before the things that I do every day, what I do is I help people who may have dysfunction, COPD, asthma, chronic heart failure, stroke, dysphagia, or those medical conditions. But we also help pro athletes,
Mm.
weekend warriors, runners, triathletes, special forces. So we help the top 1%, and then we help everybody in between. But there's a big focus on medical. That's what we've been in so many years. And over the last 6 years, I've been growing it into that human performance realm for the people that just need that extra 1%, which
Yeah.
we all do. So
Yes, yes, and that's so lovely. Thank you so much for for that answer, and that's is inspiring my next question that I have right now in my head. Like, y- I see you as a person who figures out a problem. You realize, oh, this is something that is important, like maybe low energy or respiratory system issues, and then you turn this into you try to find a solution to it, and you turn this into a successful business. Is it possible for you to walk us through this process of, figuring out what the issue is, finding the solution to this problem, and then making it a successful business?
well, coming up with ideas and actually executing and being successful is the spectrum's huge. And to get to that pinnacle is extremely difficult. So for me, and what I've learned from others, is that focus on things that matter to you. And these things matter to me. So it means a lot to be able to help people who, do have COPD or asthma, and our devices help strengthen the respiratory system. That's what they do. We help you move oxygen and CO2 more efficiently, and it's at the core of everything. You can be without food and water for a long time, but you can't be without air for more than a couple minutes. So it's immediate. We take, sometimes we take it for granted, but as I've grown over these 9 years with the company, and as the company's grown, for me, it's just, I'm getting into longevity, and my wife and I had kids older in life. I'm 54 now, and our kids are 5, 11, and 13. So I want to be around, when they get married. So I
Yeah.
really focus on longevity, chronic inflammation, and oxygen inefficiency is huge for me. Blood pressure, how to combat that. We combat that as well. So it's to me, it's like going in a candy store. But again, getting back to your question, I try to figure out. I look at problems that I actually can make an impact on,
Mm.
and luckily in this company, I can. And then of course there has to be a need. It's funny. I don't know his name, but I was watching a gentleman, a billionaire, and he said what he teaches his kids is, he said he does this all the time, and I do it to my kids. I've been doing it for years now. Is I always say, hey, listen, try to solve a problem that'll help 1 billion people.
Mm.
If you fall short, maybe you'll help 100 million or 10 million or 1 million. Well, if you're going to impact that many people, you're going to succeed. You are. It's going to happen. So that's part of the approach I take. And then, can it actually be done? Is there a way to get there?
Yeah, yes. Figure out the issue that or the problem that you find very um maybe personal to yourself, or you find it passionate to yourself, and then that way you'll be motivated to find a solution to it and shoot for the moon or for the stars. Like, want to solve that problem for 1 billion people, and maybe you land at 1 million or 100 million or 200 million people, and that's something. That's a good business. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and another big part of it is relationships. It really is. It is the relationship you build throughout life. You have to have
Mm,
high integrity to be able to have these relationships. And you may have a great idea, but if you don't have a person who can sell it, and a person who can build it,
mm,
and then a lawyer who helps you through all this, um, people don't think that's a big deal, but you do. Yeah, I mean, we can talk startups or companies growing, and as
mm,
we've expanded around the world, we do have to always have um, areas protected, like the legal side. You've got to have your patents, your trademarks, and all kinds of other things to give you that competitive edge. And for us, it's a lot of research, because it takes months to years to do research, and that gives us that competitive barrier, because it just puts us like a year ahead of everybody.
mm. Oh, that's good. So you have to build up that team of people with different knowledge, different expertise, and then, like you said, relationship is very important. Like me know you, Mark, for example, and if I have a business idea, I could come and meet you, and you tell me, no, that's not good for the market, or that's very brilliant. You could go ahead with that and use this and use that as resources to create a leverage for yourself. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. So I'd love us to learn about PN medicals. Like, we know we've talked about, yes, you do this, you help with this and help with that, but I don't think the listeners really know what PN medical is. I don't know if you could introduce us to this company.
Yeah. Sure. PN Medical is a medical device company at the core, but what we do is, again, we strengthen the cardiopulmonary system. So at the simplest side, it's the respiratory system. We do all this without drugs,
Mm,
and you use our devices. They're really simple. It's three parts. It's a respiratory muscle training device. That's what it is. And if people are looking on YouTube or your other channels, I'm holding it up right now. Really simple. You put it in your mouth. It's like a gym for your lungs and your heart, really. So think of it like that. The dials. You have dials on each side. You set the inhale and the exhale independently, because
mm,
your breath is not equal. Some people are stronger inhalers, some are stronger exhalers. So you set it to what works for you, again, it's a gym for your lungs. You're just doing 2 to 3 sets in the morning, 2 to 3 sets at night. You're just breathing through it, and what it is doing, it is there are a couple aspects to it. So that's the actual physical device. Then there's exactly the protocols that we've developed over the years. These are the breathing protocols that give you the highest effect. With all the research we do, using the devices, if we start at the athletic level, special operators, Army Rangers in the USA, we got their 2 mile run down by 39 seconds just by using the device for 4 weeks. Because
Hmm.
what it does, it strengthens the diaphragm, it strengthens the inner and outer costals, all the muscles of respiration. That's primary. Number two, everything in the laryngeal area too. So swallow, speech, those functions as well. Um, oh wait, I've got a little baby coming in.
Oh, we have a new
No,
podcast guest in. Yeah, awesome.
I am working from home today, and a little baby or 5-year-old just walked in.
Oh, that's good.
So, and then the third part is the software. So there's a mobile app, and if you want to go analog, you can use the device without the app. But the app helps coach you, and it helps you go through those training protocols in the morning, at night.
Hmm.
And again, at the end of the day, it affects blood pressure. It affects quality of life. It affects, of course, the strength of breathing, endurance. So if you're athletic, it affects that endurance. We've done studies with frontline caregivers, with MDs, doctors and other clinicians, and we actually have shown that we lower their stress, lower perceived stress of frontline caregivers, at the medical level. So it's pretty rewarding. And then all the way to NATO fighter pilots. So fighter pilots, they're in these G suits and they're going extremely fast, turning really fast, hitting high Gs. And what happens when they're wearing the G suit? They're compromised. They're hunched over. They're being squished, and their diaphragms are not developing, and they're not as strong as they should be. And we finished a study last year, and it was amazing how we help them with not passing out. They go in the centrifuge until
Hmm.
they hit 8, 9, 10 Gs, and we actually made their respiratory system that much stronger. They did by just doing the protocols. Like I said, it's a gym for your lungs. You're just doing it for 5 minutes in the morning, 5 at night, and it gives you that edge. It really does.
Oh, that's awesome. So, how long does it take for a patient, for example, who has some respiratory system issues, to start using your product and then begin to notice some, improvement, or to say, yeah, I don't need this product anymore? Does it take like a period of time? Is it like an immediate effect? How does it work?
Well, it depends. So we've got a family of products. It depends where you are. So starting with where we started for all these years,
Mm.
for the first 34 years of the company, it was focused primarily in medicine. So medical for COPD, asthma, stroke, heart failure, and they are highly compromised. They have weak respiratory function. That a lot of times, after like age 65, 70, a person may never take a deep breath again.
Mm.
So for people in that mode, or if you have asthma, you can have it as a child all the way to, adult. So that is one group where you can see results. You actually feel it. You feel it on day one, because what you're doing, you're pushing oxygen and CO2 more dynamically, and you're pushing more of it, and you're doing it properly. You're breathing from your belly. You're engaging all your thoracic area, and especially the diaphragm. So the first thing you'll do is you'll actually get lightheaded the first day because you're pulling in all that oxygen. It's good.
Mm.
And then eventually, that goes away after a few days, but you see results within a week. And then same at the athletic level. At the athletic level, you're already at a higher level. So I'd say when you're compromised, when you have COPD, you're going to see, you're going to notice results pretty fast and substantial results. If you're if you're a top class athlete, you'll start noticing something too within a week or two. It'll be less, but if an athlete just gets a 1% increase, a competitive athlete,
Mm.
that's the difference between first and third place. So it's pretty
Yeah.
significant.
Oh, that's true. Wow. And is it possible for you to track your progress with the software? Like, I know it comes with a software with a mobile app. Is it possible for one to then see like, oh, this is my condition when I started, and this is my condition now, 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line?
Yeah, and we've got new products coming out right now. The products on the market are non-connected, so you self-report. So the
Mm,
app coaches you. It says, "All right, you're starting your training plan," and then it coaches you through. Coaches you through the morning and night sessions. And then first quarter of next year, we're going to have a connected device. We made this 7, 8 years ago, but we've updated the technology in it, and it's ready for market early next year. Which,
mm,
as soon as you put it in your mouth, it can predict an exacerbation 14 days before the patient even knows something's going to happen. So, and an athlete, it can predict, okay, I'm getting overworked and I need to slow down for the next few days. So what it's doing is it's doing a pulmonary function test. As soon as you're taking breaths, it's tracking data, every few milliseconds. It's tracking so much data about what's happening in your respiratory system.
mm,
Very, very powerful. And it's almost like you're getting a pulmonary function test, multiple times in a day instead
mm,
of just a couple times in your life. Because unfortunately, people don't check how their breathing is, even though that pump your lungs, if you're athletic, they go out before your heart does. Your diaphragm tends to start losing capacity, seconds and minutes before your limbs do. And you think it's really your limbs are getting tired. You're getting that lactate threshold buildup, but it actually is that, how you're pulling in air is not as efficient as it should be. So it's pretty interesting how it has that effect.
mm. Oh, that's good. Wow, I'm looking forward to that. As in, like when you can just put it in and then tells you this is your condition right now, and this is what you should do to get better. And yeah, yeah, that sounds great. But Mark, from your
Yeah.
from your from your expertise so far, like working on this Breeder 2, for example. I'm going to place a link to your website in the show notes of this episode. So anyone wants to get the device or, buy it could, follow up on that and, maybe ask for the price, ask for shipping, go on Amazon also maybe to get some of your other products too. Um, but for someone out there who's just asking is yourself and saying, oh, Mark, is there a way I could just improve my respiratory health, for example, from all your researches and all your expertise? Like, are there some tips you could give us on that?
Sure, you can just search for the breather, just the breather, and it should pull up. Or you go to which will take you to the website PN Medical where you see everything. Or you go on Amazon, search for the breather,
Mm.
and just make sure you don't go to the counterfeits from China. So be careful.
Yeah.
Ours has over, I believe, 10,000 reviews, and those have 10, 100, and they don't use medical grade plastic. It's really bad. Amazon pulls them down regularly, but they come back up. So
Mm.
you either search the breather on the web or go to Amazon and search the breather.
Yeah. Ah, okay. Okay. And are there like some tips you could share with us on how to just improve our general respiratory health? Yeah.
Let's say that again.
No, I was just asking like a general question. I just wanted to know if they're like, from your researches, from your work with the breeder, if there are like some tips that you could share with us that could help us to improve our own respiratory health. Like if they're like maybe
Oh,
breathing techniques
sure.
or some, yeah.
Yeah, well, our products aside, the first thing you can do, what we've learned, we just finished you think it doesn't apply, but it does apply because we had a 2,000 patient study with Mayo Clinic recently that just finished, and we had all people of all health conditions and ages, and what we learned from it's changed the trajectory of the company actually, and we've applied for 2 patents because of it. What happened last year, something that and COVID caused this, wearing the masks, and it started getting people to breathe more shallow. So if you just pay attention to your breath, there's what I call it's the great breathing reset. And we just have to reset our breathing pattern. Check yourself when you do email. Watch how you breathe more shallow. It's really interesting. But we've become more shallow breathers. And
Mm,
that just triggers the brain. The brain thinks you're going to fight, go into flight or freeze. And that's not good to be in a parasympathetic state all the time. Or, I mean, a sympathetic state. You want to get to a parasympathetic state where your body is in recovery. You do that during sleep, but you want to be in recovery mode during the day too. So the breathing reset is at its simplest way, again, it's just you breathing, and you're breathing from your nose. You're just inhaling for 5, exhaling for 5. And you're just doing that for 10 minutes in the morning. And if you can, 10 minutes at night. It becomes highly meditative, and it's just so relaxing. And after, it can happen as fast as a week, maybe quicker if you already are a decent breather. But some people actually don't know how to engage their diaphragm. They just lost it. As babies, we all were belly breathers, and then as you get older, you stop. So just doing that 5-5 pattern, just inhaling from the nose, exhaling from the nose, 5, and it's again for 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, and you're just doing this for 10 minutes, and it truly starts resetting your breathing. So you start breathing slower and deeper, and you're just in a more calm state. Now, there's a couple really interesting things you can do too. If you are in an elevated state and you need to down regulate, this one's really cool. It only takes a couple seconds. And what you want to do is you want to activate your vagus nerve. So you're just going to inhale from your nose, and then you exhale, and you actually make a sigh sound. You have to make that sigh because that vibration in your throat triggers your vagus nerve, and that does cause you to start going more into a parasympathetic state. So you inhale, and
Okay.
you just instantly everything just dropped a couple percentage points. That is the fastest way to down regulate. And watch how many times you're in this upregulated state during the day. Just do that when you're about to go into a big conversation, or again checking email, or you're about to present, you're about to do something, and you don't realize you've just been anxious, and you're more anxious. It instantly calms you. So that's one that I will take. Everybody just take that for the rest of your life. Just just that, and it just relaxes you. It just works so well.
Oh, that's good. Wow, thanks for that. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah. Wow, good.
Sure.
I'm going to make use of that from now on. Inhale and
Yeah.
just exhale and sigh. To release you of a lot of stress. Um,
Yep.
yeah. So, in your own opinion and experience, like I'm just so curious to know about this. Like, what do you think is the future of medicine and digital health? Like, you have this new product, the breeder, and I must be honest, I've not heard about it like before coming across you and coming across your products, your company, and there are a lot of other products coming up that are helping, health and helping, and seems to be the future basically. So I just want to know what the future looks like for medicine and health.
Well, I think I can speak more towards the U.S. I know a little bit about Europe, as we're growing there. We're doing a lot with COVID in Germany, actually, with long COVID. But in America, I think it's just going to keep getting more expensive, and it's going to really put us in a bad spot. So that's one of the reasons I left a really big Fortune 100 job 9 years ago. Was one of the other reasons is I just saw to make a difference and stop complaining
Mm,
about healthcare and make it and do something. So I wanted to be part of something that was not pharma related. So big pharma seems it's pretty much is they've really gotten their fingernails, and I say fingernails because I'm saying that as that it's not from strength, it's from weakness. That
mm,
they've come and really taken over healthcare for quite a while, and even more so since COVID. And back before the Gates family and the Rockefellers and other families created the pharma industry, we all did things naturally, and the
mm,
world still does. Most of the world still has a lot of natural remedies to manage their health and stay healthy for a long time. So where I see it going is that now, on a positive note, is that it's really going more to the home. So we're trying to help people in their home because it's just more comfortable. It's better. It saves money too for the government as well. But as we get and our connected device and others, the more we have these connected devices, the more you can monitor patients at home, and you can self monitor yourself and your health. So a lot of things are going to the home now. So that trend is going to continue.
mm. Oh yeah. So everything's coming home basically. You can do everything from the convenience of your home. And like, for example, use the breeder tool, for example. You get the software, you get the device itself, and you could just use it when you're at home. You don't have to go to the hospital or do anything. Yeah. Oh, great. Uh, this question is inspired by a lot of people who listen to this podcast and friends also. And I thought I should ask you, Mark, because you're also a recruiter for your company. So the question is, a lot of people that are always looking for greener pasture, looking for a better job, looking for better, opportunities somewhere else, or just fresh out of college and looking for, their first job ever. And the question is, what makes, a job applicant attractive to you as a recruiter?
Oh, that's a great question because we're hiring for multiple positions right now in America, in Florida. So these are positions we want to be in the headquarter office
Hmm.
in Central Florida. But what we look for, you hire for character and you train for skill. You can't teach character. I mean, that was your upbringing. So you really hire for character. You need to, if you have nothing else, you can be a person that's not the top exceller, but if you're trusted by your boss, that goes so far. When you can be counted on and they know what you say, you're going to do it and you're going to do it when you do it. That goes so far in business. So it's because I actually don't look for degrees either. I've got a ton of, I don't have a ton, but I've got, advanced degrees, and I would have given up most of those because I feel like real life was so much better. So I also don't look for that. It's like, how good are you at what you do, and I don't want to say passion. How much on purpose are you for what you do? You can be passionate about something and you still can give up on it the next day. A lot
Mm,
of people say that, but I love Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm forgetting his name right now. But he says, no, that's a joke. It's about purpose. You have to have a purpose. You know, um, because you do get knocked down. We get knocked down a lot. We get attacked because as we grow, we get more people coming into our market. So we're always monitoring that. And for me, it's who's going to be in the trenches with you, who can cross train and not just be stuck doing one thing and have a poor attitude like, oh no, you didn't hire me for that. No,
mm,
you got to do it. You got to do the job. Just stop complaining and whining. We have a lot of people who are entitled and that are whiners, at least here in America. And it's weird. It's how economies go. When economies keep going good, I just love that meme. Do you remember it? I'm forgetting it right now.
mm.
Strong men or weak men make weak nations, and
Ah,
strong men. Do you remember that meme?
yeah, yes, I do. Yeah, yeah.
It is so true.
Mm,
We are in a troubling place where a lot of economies are struggling right now.
mm.
So again, sorry for a long answer, but we're in the middle of it and I'm constantly interviewing people and I'm just looking for good character, people I can trust.
Yes, good character, people you can trust. It's not only about the degree, the certificates, but you have to be able to connect in that realm of, can I trust you? And do you have good character? Do you fit into our company's culture? Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you add value? Are you a positive force or negative? I tell my kids, are you doing words of life or words of death right now? What's
Mm,
coming out of your mouth?
mm.
And you monitor that on yourself. Am I after a person this was tough too. I have a guy who helps and mentors me, and I strongly encourage mentorship for your whole life. It doesn't matter how successful you are. You should get a mentor as young as you can, multiple mentors if possible, and have it for the rest of your life. Is that do people call you back months from now? Like, are you a taker or a giver? Most humans are takers. There's a lot less givers than takers. So, where do you fit on the spectrum? You have to be giving a little more than you're taking, and that's also a huge, huge quality that builds team and builds culture. Like we're reading my company right now, we're doing the Culture Code, the book called The Culture Code.
Ah,
And
yeah.
there's multiple. Senec's amazing. He's done so many TED Talks. He's
Mm.
great, but the Culture Code's simple and it's a fast audible. You can do that in a couple, do it on twice the speed or 1.5 and you can be done with the book in probably 3 hours, I believe.
Mm,
But that's something we're doing too, is we are working so hard to build culture, because a lot of us worked from home for the last few years. So we just reopened our physical office, just the beginning of this year. So it's fun getting everybody back to work. And
mm.
some people don't want to come back to work. They love working from home. And
Yeah.
not a lot of people can do it. That's another thing we're challenged with. A lot of people get distracted too much, too many distractions, and they end up not making it. So I just love people coming back to work where we can have camaraderie and we do things after work, do things during work. And so a person that gets along with others, but has high confidence in themselves, they care
Mm,
about themselves. Another big thing for us is faith. We strongly believe in God, and that's our guide. That's my roadmap. That's my map of life. Is the Bible.
yes, I love that. I also believe that. So yeah, that's the pillar you hold on to, and yeah, the strong force behind you. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so my final question, or maybe second to the last question, is inspired from the fact that you've been nominated as the most influential businessman by the Orlando Business Journal. And I just love to know, like, what does it take to become a successful businessman or leader or CEO in, yeah, in business? Sorry,
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah, just a quick reference to that. Gosh, I don't know where you found that on my bio deep in, but that was like 15, 20 years ago. And that stuff's like silly. It's who you know, really. I don't take any pride in any of that stuff. You just show up and do hard work.
Mm,
That's about it. Just
mm.
show up and do your job and do it well and have pride when you go home. So that's how simple it really is.
Show up, do your job, and have pride in it. Yeah, I like that. So, what's the best way to connect with you, Mark? Like, if someone wants to reach out to you, connect with you, work with you in some regards, what's the best way to do this?
Ooh, good question. I'm just doing that. So I'm just getting social, but to me is just go through the company. If somebody wants to meet me directly, it's pretty easy. You just call the 1-800 number or email and say that you heard about me on this podcast, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. I'm going to place a link to your website in the show notes of this episode. Every other information is available on your website. And I encourage everyone who's listened so far to just, click on the link, copy the link, and reach out to you. Get the breeder and maybe wait till next year to get the upgrade to the software that could even do much more wonders for you. Thank you so much, Mark. I really appreciate this. It was so wonderful learning so much from you in this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Thank you.
Hey there, podcast enthusiasts. Are you ready to add a little sparkle to your day? If you're loving the insightful conversations and captivating stories on Mirror Talk Podcast, here's a friendly nudge to hit that subscribe button. By subscribing, you'll never miss out on the empowering messages and thought provoking discussions we bring to your ears. But wait, there's more. We're all about spreading positivity and inspiration, and you can be a part of it too. How? By sharing the love with your friends and family. Share this episode with your loved ones, and let's create a ripple effect of empowerment and growth together. And hey, if you've been enjoying what you hear, why not take a moment to leave us a glowing 5-star review? Your feedback fuels our passion to keep delivering content that resonates with you. So hit that subscribe button, share the love, and leave us a review. Let's keep the conversation going and spread the Mirror Talk magic far and wide. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, your support means the world to us.